So when it rains, it pours, at least when it comes to Erika Jayne Girardi. Or should I say Erika White? So a new stunning allegations of more theft from Tom Girardi has surfaced. Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, your number one source for pop culture news in music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So we just reported on Erika Jayne getting served in the $50 million racketeering lawsuit that she's named in when she arrived from a week-long vacation with Madam Diana New Money Jenkins and Lisa Rinna. Well, there's more. So you may recall if you watched our Tuesday takeover, we had a caller call in and mention this other $27 billion lawsuit in which Erika Jayne is also named.
Have you seen the other lawsuit, the $27 billion lawsuit?
Oh my God,
that
no.
involves Bank of America and Merrill Lynch.
Oh, that came out this week.
Tom and Erika. It also lists Rick Hilton, and it also lists the agency and the scam of using this guy's $27 billion settlement, and they locked him out of his bank account, and they perpetrated a big whammy of buying the Spelling Manor with that money.
Wow.
I read through that. There was over 45 pages of document. I read through that. Read that.
Wow.
That would be.
I think you summarized it pretty well, but we're going to have to take a look at that. Wow.
Yeah, take a look at that. I think that you'd be really interested in that. And yeah, I hope this woman goes to jail. And I hope that Kyle and Mauricio, they knew ahead of time if they were involved in that, because Mauricio was one of the agents that helped go through this, him and Rick Hilton's posted too. So they knew ahead of time. And all of Kyle's little, oh, but I didn't know, and batting her eyelashes. Yeah, it's all a big fraud.
Wow.
So,
well, it's all coming out.
I know. And the rest of the mess, I just love watching them. So you guys have a great day. And I just wanted to mention that. Take care.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Bye. Our friends over at Bravo Snarkside were the first to highlight this article from law.com. And if you're not following them, you should. Because as always, here on the channel, we cite our sources. So buckle up, go grab a snack, put me on pause, like Dorinda. Sorry, Dorinda. Put me on pause, grab a snack, because I want to go through every single detail of this case. Okay. And thank you to our friends over at Bravo Snarkside for highlighting how this was all laid out on law.com. So the article is titled New Cases Allege Bank of America / Merrill Lynch Aided and Abetted Real Housewives Tom and Erika Girardi Massive Fraud Scheme Imposing as Victim's Father and Widow to Steal $27.459 billion of victim sovereign tower settlement and purchase of Spelling Manor. Bank still refusing to help the victims. Before we get into the details of this goes back to what we've been saying about there were more people involved here. Banks, creditors, people that allowed this to continue for years. California Bar Association. But let's get into what this is saying, okay? And a shout out to our friends over at the Bravo docket. They also reposted Bravo Snarkside's post and said this simply: we have seen this. The complaints are real complaints in that were filed, but the allegations are confusing. We'll try to break it down this week. And once they do an update of that, guys, we will, because they usually break things down in layman's terms. But let me get into what this article is saying on law.com. And like I said, I'm going to read through it, so buckle up, okay? So the article says, the unopposed civil case for negligence is for the return from Berkshire Hathaway, owned Bank of America Corporation, for the victim and plaintiff, chairman and CEO, the Hollywood Land Development Company, LLC, Nicholas Phillips White's $27.459 billion sovereign tower settlement issued as a U.S. Treasury check, in addition to the return of the victim's home from West Coast Escrow Company. So the unopposed Bank of America lawsuit alleges that the, quote, defendants, Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan and Merrill Lynch president Andrew Sieg were negligent in allowing a global Merrill Lynch consumer account to be fraudulently opened 3 years ago on June 7th of 2019. At the Merrill Lynch Coral Gables, Florida location, more than 3,000 miles away from and without the plaintiff's knowledge, an existing customer of Bank of America and resident of California, with a fraudulent Italian passport and a forged, unrecorded birth certificate for the plaintiff by disgraced and disbarred attorney Tom Girardi, naming 83-year-old Girardi as his father, and a fraudulent unrecorded marriage certificate naming 51-year-old Erika Girardi, posing as a fictitious Erika White, as his wife and now widow. The fraudulent Italian passport Bank of America accepted and illicitly obtained from the Italian consulate in San Francisco by Tom Girardi, who was actually born in Italy and immigrated to the U.S. in 1954. With a now expired immigration papers, Girardi could face deportation from the United States. So they say disgraced Tom Girardi's 51-year-old wife, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reality performer Erika Nicole Girardi, aka Erika Jayne, fraudulently posed as a fabricated Erika White, who perpetrated to be the wife and widow of plaintiff Nicholas Phipps White, chairman and CEO of the Hollywood Land Development Company in California. Bank of America Merrill Lynch aided and abetted Erika Girardi by accepting, among other forged documents, illegitimate and unrecorded letters of probate, granting her control as the administrator of the Merrill Lynch Global Consumer Account. And I know it's a lot of words right now, but basically they're saying that Erika Jayne was involved in this situation, this $27 billion fraudulent situation. They're accusing the bank of allowing them to and accepting these fraudulent documents. Bank of America's former U.S. Secretary of State and U.S. Senator John Kerry served as the Bank of America's Global Advisory Council chairman, which included Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan from October 2017 to January 2021, knew the actual plaintiff's father from Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut, where the plaintiff was born, managing director of the Sovereign Towers, architect Mr. Lawrence Philip White, grandson of U.S. Senator Lawrence Phipps, former treasurer of Carnegie Steel, now part of U.S. Steel. So the article continues and says this: the Girardi scheme, aided and abetted by Bank of America, was intentionally done in order to conceal the $27.459 billion sovereign tower settlement and to prevent the plaintiff, Nicholas Phipps White, who is the legitimate owner of the account, to not have any access to even $1 of his account, while the defendants allowed Erika Girardi and others to unlawfully spend from the plaintiff's global account. Additionally, Bank of America Merrill Lynch issued more than 25 plus unauthorized Visa debit cards to Erika Girardi from the plaintiff's global account for a vast network of friends, political operatives, and associates of the Democrat political fundraiser Tom Girardi and his wife Erika Girardi to illicitly use. Previously, Bank of America had allowed fraudulent money transfers from the plaintiff's Merrill Lynch account to the vast networks of friends, political operatives, and associates of Tom and Erika Girardi across 16 states through Bank of America's Erika Virtual Financial Assistant, launched in June of 2018, and utilized the Bank of America's own Zelle payment platform, which allows transfer of funds of $2,500 daily from the plaintiff's account. Assisted by Devon Investment Advisory, owned by Archer Systems Investment Advisor Associates of Tom Girardi's That Bank of America illicitly approved, with Devon's investment advisor previously terminated by the SEC. Subsequently, beginning in April of 2021, Bank of America converted more than $14 billion of Nicholas Phipps White's funds from his Merrill Lynch global account to the Bank of America's $25 billion stock buyback that was announced in early of 2021. Other unauthorized transactions of the Bank of America aided and abetted the Girardis with included the wire transfer from Merrill Lynch account in the amount of $119,750,000 for the purchase on July 2nd, 2019, disguised as an LLC without his knowledge as the anonymous buyer of the alleged birthday present for the plaintiff's wife of the Spelling Manor. I won't read the address. This property was co-listed by the agency and Anywhere Real Estate Incorporated, Coldwell Banker Realty, and the plaintiff was disguised as an anonymous buyer represented by the recently deceased Jeff Highland of Hilton and Highland, with the escrow of West Coast Escrow Company of Beverly Hills, California, and tilting the property by Fidelity National Title Group of Los Angeles. So this goes on to say that subsequently, Nicholas Phipps White, without his knowledge of the home purchase, has been subjected to paying monthly utility bills from his global Merrill Lynch account that were as high as $29,932.70 to the Los Angeles Department of Power and Water, while the vast network of friends, political operatives, and associates of Tom and Erika Girardi used the plaintiff's house for lavish entertaining. Additionally, the plaintiff's home was illicitly managed by the staff from ABM Industries, brought in from their New York offices at One Liberty. Lord have mercy, I know where this is. And I know ABM. At One Liberty Plaza, the building of the original headquarters of Merrill Lynch. The plaintiff has been subjected to paying from the plaintiff's Merrill Lynch account for the lavish around-the-clock embassy-style security services to MBM for the Girardis and their friends, operatives, and associates at the plaintiff's home. This is just one particular case that we're talking about. I know you're all confused by the multiple lawsuits that have come out from this Tom Girardi and Erika Girardi situation, but this one is huge. This is in the billions of dollars. So it continues, okay? The current listing of the Spelling Manor property initiated by Erika Girardi posing as Erika White, the widow of the plaintiff, was suspended on March 22nd of 2022 after the fraudulent wire from the Bank of America from July 2nd, 2019. Purchase of the Spelling Manor was reported by the plaintiff, the owner of the home, the U.S. Attorney General Garland at the U.S. Department of Justice. I hope you're paying attention to these dates. These dates are recent. The plaintiff, Mr. Nicholas Phipps White, who is an existing customer of Bank of America, had previously and urgently attempted to contact Bank of America's chairman and CEO Brian Moynihan more than 104 times to report the massive fraud and unconscionable acts allowed to be committed by Tom and Erika Girardi. In fact, Bank of America's CEO Brian Moynihan had previously known Tom Girardi and received payment from the plaintiff's Merrill Lynch account to aid and abet the fraud. So this is really not even about Tom and Erika, even though it is about them. This man, the plaintiff, is saying that this bank allowed this to happen and helped this happen. For the love of Wells Fargo, are we supposed to get back to putting our money under our pillows in our beds? The article continues. They say the plaintiff has also requested the immediate closure of his Merrill Lynch account and the return of his funds. Brokers' licenses for both Bank of America, Brian Moynihan, Merrill Lynch's president Andrew Sieg, and Devon Investment Advisory, owned by Archer Systems, misconduct were reported to the Securities and Exchange Commission, which is regulated by Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. It continues. The violations by the realtors and the attorneys regarding the spelling manner, which include fellow reality cast members. This is where the caller said earlier today, Rick Hilton of Hilton and Highland and Mauricio Umansky of the agency, in addition to Coldwell Banker Realty, Tony. Okay, I'm not going to go through all the names. So Mauricio's named in this. Kathy Hilton's husband, Rick Hilton, is named in this lawsuit as well. And this is talking about the violations by the realtors and the attorneys regarding the spelling manner. Attorney misconduct complaints have been filed to the California State Bar on Tom Girardi of the now defunct Girardi and Keese law firm, in addition to the Bank of America's owner, Berkshire Hathaway's vice chairman, attorney Charlie Munger, friend of Girardi and fellow Pasadena, California resident, founder of the law firm Munger, Tolles, and Olson of Los Angeles, and who recently resigned on March 28th of this year as chairman of the Daily Journal Corporation after the fraud was reported to the Attorney General Garland on March 2022 of 2022. That his publication, The Daily Journal in Los Angeles, aided Erika Girardi in running a fraudulent legal notice for the illegitimate manufactured Erica White Bank of America. This is a complete and utter mess. If any of this is true, I'm not an attorney. However, what I can gather from this, there are all kinds of laws that were broken. The fact that Mauricio is being named in this lawsuit, Rick Hilton's being named in this lawsuit, who knew? Who knew? This continues to not look good, especially for Erika Jayne, who continues to say, I was just the wife. I was busy building my music career. I had nothing to do with it. This is alleging very much what Jay Edelson alleges in their lawsuit against Erika, that she was a front woman in his operation from stealing from victims. Where are the Erika Jayne sympathizers now? Okay, you don't have to say anyone's correct here because innocent until proven guilty. But there's a whole lot of smoke. A whole lot of smoke. Guys, I know this was a long one and there was a lot of information that we had to get through. But to me, this is not something that we could just sort of summarize. I had to read to you all the details. I apologize, but I had to read through all the details because this scheme was bigger than just Erika Jayne. Yes, she was white. Okay, or I'm going to start calling her Erica White. This scheme was bigger than Erica White and Tom Girardi, because there was no way Tom Girardi could get away with all of what he was doing without the assistance of multiple players in this whole situation. As soon as we get more legal minds on this, we're going to talk more about it when we can, because as I said to you before, the legal cases keep coming out when it comes to Erika Jayne Girardi. Oh, I mean, Erica White. I mean, whatever her real name is. Let's continue this conversation below. And as always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we